What's up, beasties? It's Triple B, and I am here with another episode of Beast Friends Forever. And I've got an awesome guest today, Dave Lawson, the author of the Envoys of War, and we're gonna have a great time. Dave, how you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
I am doing good, man. I've been looking forward to this. I was already looking forward to it, but I've been looking forward to it even more after this week, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we've got some people in here. People are filing in. Let's see. We've got Shane's here. What's up, Shane? Thanks for being here. We got Josh here, who just started his YouTube channel, already overbooked. Thanks for being here. And of course, Kenneth. He's probably been sitting here waiting since he sent me that drawing last week.
Kenneth is wearing his Big Bird costume right now.
He definitely is. You know it. Oh, man. All right. So we'll talk about the Big Bird stuff later because that's funny. But what we're really here to do is celebrate your book, man. So you were nice enough to give me an e-arc of it. And I'm almost done. I thought I'd finish it in time, but I fell asleep last night and I didn't finish it.
I know. Made you fall asleep.
But not because of the book, but because the problem was it was so good and I wanted to finish it. And I'm old and it was like 12:45 a.m. and I fell asleep.
I get that. I was at a football game last night until it was homecoming.
Same.
Drama teachers, we get this really fun thing where we get to do trash cleanup with drama to make money to pay for our stuff. So we pick up trash at the end of all of the football games.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible. So nice of you, but that does not sound fun because I've seen how messy they can be at those games.
Yes.
Not just the kids either, like literally everyone that goes there.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot of trash in the trash cans.
They sometimes make it.
So once in a while, right? Once in a while. So what time did you get done and get home?
I got home around 11:45, I'd say.
Okay.
It was probably about 11 when I left, and I live about 45 minutes away from where I teach. So,
oh, you have a good drive.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Audiobooks.
I was gonna say, I bet you listen to some books.
I do. Yeah,
that's a good way.
It's really not too bad.
That's good. Yeah, I'm lucky. The school I work at is like 7 minutes away, which is sometimes dangerous because I know it's not a long drive. So then in the mornings, it's like I got more time.
A little while
longer. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
But Envoys of War is fantastic, man.
Thank you.
I'm excited for it to come out and for everybody to get to experience it because, like I was telling you, I just think you do such a good walk the line between humor, but then a more adult, serious story, but also, and anybody that's watched you on anything knows that you're just hilarious and you get your humor. So of course it's gonna have that in there, and the characters. As someone who loves like grimdark and gray characters, I feel like I love your characters because they're just kind of a hot mess, but you love them anyway. You know what I mean? Like you just do that so well. But I will say now, before I watched your, you were on Balding with Mike Molman, and he has that segment where he throws a scenario at you and you pick a character, after you did that, and you did that, did it in that voice. Like that's how I read that character now. Like I can't hear him speak any other way than that, which was pretty awesome. So thank you for that.
I think that was Tobias and like the bigger dude.
Oh yeah,
I read that part, but yeah. In general, hot messes are my favorite characters, and I think I'm one of those people who I love to be funny. I love comedy. Mm-hmm. But I also really struggle with things that are just comedy.
Oh,
so like the movies that are just comedies, I get bored and I can't really get through them. I need it to be like humorous with things that are not humorous also occurring. And that's one of the things like people always talk about like Terry Pratchett. Mm-hmm. And I've read some of his books, but I sometimes struggle to get through some of the books because they are so much a like this is a comedy, this is a comedy, this is like hitting you over the head with it. And people are surprised sometimes because I write funny books,
right?
But I struggle with just like only comedy, and so I wanted to do kind of like it is funny, but there are things happening in it that are absolutely not funny things, and it makes you laugh, but it's also not just a complete farce, not a spoof.
Oh yeah, exactly. I agree. We got some more people coming in. Lorraine is here. Said yay.
That's my good friend LM Douglas.
Oh, nice. I'm guessing that's it could be for either one of us, but I'm guessing that's for you. A good person.
Probably for you. She can't stand me.
She can't stand you. But she did say that Corden is so annoying.
You got to read the second part though.
Oh, LOL. Oh, the next part? Oh yeah, for sure, in a good way. Because I was going to say he's actually one of my favorite, but I mean,
he is my favorite.
I get that.
Corden is my favorite character.
Your favorite to write?
Called him like infuriatingly delightful and so annoying in a good way here. And like, he is very much like me if I were not a like, I am not a player. I am not that kind of like, I'm not the rake, scoundrel, libertine type guy. But in terms of like his humor and like the charismatic side of things, that is very much like me with Corden. And then Jen has her whole like she loves animals and she loves her friends, and that's like the side of Jen that is me. So I'm kind of like a mixture
of those two. Well, those are my two favorite characters, so I guess that's why I like you so much. That's awesome, man. Because I was gonna ask, I wondered how you came up with those. So those characters are just really like part of you, like that's just who you are.
It started out from a short story that I wrote for my D&D campaign about one of my friends, her barbarian character, whose name is Yuka, who is kind of a fun-loving barbarian who like likes to hit things with her axe and is kind of a goofy character. And I wrote a little like 4-page story thing about a scene with her, and it was fun. And then I didn't do anything with it, and I kind of looked back at it a little while later and thought that I could make this into something longer, but in order to do that I had to change everything about it. So I took away the like a lot of the like very D&D vibes of it, like all the different races and everything like that. And really the only thing that still exists from that is the fighting the spider partially was part of that. So like that was partially part of that first little thing. And besides that, nothing else exists. But my character Jen has a little tiny bit of the vibe that Yuka the Barbarian had. But is very much a completely different character. And like the character that became Corden was originally my character, who was a Centaur Ranger, who is a complete player. So like they're not at all like those characters anymore, really. But that is kind of like that's where it started from.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then it took on a completely new life, and I built an entirely new world. I have actually never seen all of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I've seen a little bit of it, and I know they move water around.
Right. Oh yeah.
But with me, I get kind of tired of the magic where it's always like there are the people who wield fire, and the people who wield water, and the people who wield earth. And then like in Captain Planet, the people who wield heart. And I was just kind of like, no, there is only one type of magic, but you can do absolutely everything with it in some way or another, because it's water, and water's in everything.
I love it, man. Brilliant. So that's so cool that's how you came up with all this stuff. When did you think like, when was the point when you thought of that stuff, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I'll make a short story about it? When was the point when it was like, no, this needs to be like a whole book, a whole world, like, and then it just blew up for you from there?
So it's kind of crazy, but I wrote the short story maybe like last November. And
Okay.
I started writing the actual novel in January.
Oh man.
And
Okay.
I destroyed the first draft by the start of March.
Okay.
And that was like, it was 91,000 words. It's like basically my younger brother, I was talking to him over the summer and he said, like, you haven't done anything. You've basically just like gone to work, gone home, and wrote. You didn't do anything else for several months in there.
Right.
But basically I wrote that and then I revised it, sent it out to beta readers at the end of March, got some feedback there, revised again, sent it to an editor in May, revised again. Originally, I didn't know what I was doing because I had no clue how the whole thing worked.
It's all new.
When I started writing it, I was just like, I'll publish this in like June or July or something. Like,
right.
You write the thing and then
put it
I
out.
started actually like getting into the indie fantasy community, which I wasn't on Twitter until March.
Okay.
I joined like the SFFI,
nice.
SFFI insiders. Like I review for them. Like I joined that in March, maybe late February. Made my author Instagram in February or March. Like I just started all this stuff this year.
Yeah. So that's all pretty fresh.
I've always been good at like making connections and getting to know people. And I feel like I've done a really good job of like building a group of people around me. Some of the people in the chat here, like Bella, Lamia, Lorraine, Timothy Wolf has been a big, he's awesome. The coolest guy ever. He's right there. Kenneth, I just connected with him recently. That is my good friend Justin.
Okay,
he just said Two-Lane Highway.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
He was a groomsman at my wedding.
Nice.
And very so like cool. Basically I have a big support group.
You've got a good tribe.
Helped me. And my wife has been fantastic from the beginning. And just like she has always been super supportive of me and says loving things like you have a typo on this page. And things like that.
She's always looking out. Belladon says, we love you, Dave. You're doing good, man. You're doing awesome. I mean, I can't imagine anybody meets you in Toxie and doesn't love you. So you are a charismatic fella, much like Corden.
I'm basically Corden, but my hat is black, not purple.
Yes. Oh man. Well, so let everybody know, when does the book, like, when is it officially out?
So it officially comes out. Book, by the way.
Such a pretty cover.
Second.
I haven't got mine in yet, but
one of these has your name on it.
Yes.
I've got 4 copies here that came in yesterday.
Okay,
got a bunch more that are on the way, but one of these 4 right here, there's 2 over there as well. One of these has your name on it.
Yes.
It'll be headed your way. But yeah, that is the covers from Mibble Art, or who does a lot of indie covers, and for the price that they charge, which is pretty, like, it's less than $300. And
wow,
they do a really nice job. And it's not illustrated, it's like 3D photo manipulated.
Okay.
But like they make it look really good, and like I've been so happy with it. But yes, it comes out 2 weeks from today. October 19th, 2024. I am super ready for that.
I bet,
because it has been a very stressful last few months getting all the things together. And I am ready for it to go out into the world. And
heck yeah.
Meet some new readers.
Oh yeah, I bet. And you have, I mean, people can get it anywhere, but you sell them yourself through your own site too, right?
Right. So ebook is Kindle Unlimited, Amazon only. I haven't actually set up anything with Ingram Spark yet, but I'm probably going to, because I know it makes it easier for libraries and bookstores to get a hold of it.
Right.
But right now it's just like the paperbacks, Amazon. And what I did was I set up a Square store on my website for where people could buy signed pre-orders. And so like
yeah.
I'm getting a shipment in, I'll sign all of those and ship them out here in the next, I think those are all coming in maybe in the next week to a week and a half, and then I'll start shipping all those out. So basically
cool.
what I thought was there are a lot of people who don't read ebooks.
Right.
And so like the pre-ordering just of ebooks, and also if you have Kindle Unlimited, there's maybe not a huge reason to pre-order an ebook.
Yeah.
So by making pre-orders for hard copies like that, which Amazon doesn't let you do,
right.
It was a way for me to like get some orders, get some people into it beforehand. And so that's worked really well. I actually, last time I looked, I had 23 ebook pre-orders and 17 physical pre-orders.
Sweet, man. That's awesome.
So I got to 40.
You did.
But the, I mean, the physicals, I make more money off of those.
Right. Yeah.
Because the pre-order, the ebook's $2.99.
Right.
And I'm going to get like $1.
Right.
Whereas like the physicals, I make like maybe 10 or something off of it instead, or maybe 9 to 10 bucks off of it instead of the $1.
Oh, for sure.
So,
I will
type it in the.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if you want to put it in the chat, and then when this is done, I'll put all his links for everything in the description too, so that anybody watching the replay can click on that as well.
It did not let me.
Oh, it's not letting you.
Maybe it's because it was a link.
Well, I'll make
it is DaveLawsonAuthor.com.
Oh, nice. Makes it simple.
Yes, it is my name and author at the end of it.
Oh, I did want to highlight a couple things here that Two Lane Highway said Courtney's here too. She's the better lane.
They're both
and
great
you,
lanes.
You are the scribes captain.
I am. Secret Scribes were taking over the indie fantasy community one book at a time.
I love it. And he also said, meanwhile, I just sent him a picture with the typo circled and tell him, fix it now.
He definitely did do that.
Let's see. Timothy said, Ingram lets you do physical pre-orders on Amazon, but it didn't really work well. So that's good to know.
I feel like that's all I've heard about Ingram by this point, was that it didn't really work well. But...
Oh, man. Well, I think you're doing it the right way. You got to 40.
Yeah. There you go. It's been a great ride so far. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And like marketing, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I just kind of do me and just kind of I'm silly and I do the stuff like that, and it seems to have like it's worked, and it's partially just I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to
trying to play one or whatever.
I'm just like, hi, I'm Dave. I am a lot, and I'm charismatic, and I'm funny.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, we feel sorry for that guy. We'll buy his book.
Hey, whatever works, man. Oh, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, you just got to have fun, right? Have fun with it. Don't make it be some crazy different thing. So that's awesome.
Dogs are the greatest marketing tool ever, because you put a book on a couch and they lie down on top of it, and you take a picture of them with the dog, and you're like, oh, my dog loved the book. You might too. Perfect.
The dog, meanwhile, has no idea what's going on.
Oh, no. She is actually a voracious reader. She's sitting right next to me right now. And I have to shut all of the windows in the front of the house while I do this, because otherwise she would be looking out them and deciding to bark at like anyone who goes by. So she's kind of like, why are my windows shut? I would like to be looking out there.
Yeah, I need to bark at everything
during the interview.
That's smart.
Lamia knows. Lamia asked, do any of us know what to do with the marketing? We saw your book boxes, Lamia.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Shush it.
Yeah, she killed it with that. That all looks awesome. All right, so I want to know, you're a teacher, right? Just like me.
Yes.
So what grade do you teach?
I teach sophomore English, and I also am the drama director. So I have a like 9 through 12 drama class, and then sophomore English. So 5 hours of sophomore English, 1 hour of drama.
Where's your 1 hour of drama? Is it in the middle,
the last
beginning,
hour?
Well, at least you
So
end
it's
with
kind
it.
of like the activity
Yeah.
hour. And so we're able, like right now we're doing our one act play. 10 days from now will be regional. So I've been doing
I was going to
lots
ask
of
about that.
rehearsing and everything, but we will
Woo!
be doing that. But yeah, rehearsal every day from 3 to 5. And then it's been a lot. I'm ready for a break on that front.
Yeah, you are busy, man. I don't know how you've been doing it all and then back to school and all that. So that's
I wrote the
wild.
entire first draft of the book while directing a musical.
That's insane. Oh, is it all a blur? That whole stretch of time?
It happened. I will say that I haven't written very much the last
Yeah.
few months.
Okay.
And I feel like I just needed to take a break because I was just
Yeah, I bet, dude.
exhausted after doing that. And I did actually start writing a little bit of a short story in the world about some mage captains out on the seas using their water magic to tame the seas.
Sweet.
And then I've written half of my prequel novella, which is following Cork, who you meet in around like chapter 16-ish or something. But following Cork 12 years earlier, completely different story, but with a little bit of a connection. So I've written about half of that so far. Have a name for it. I'm working toward getting a cover ready for that one, and hopefully it will come out in the spring.
Okay. Well, you're rolling then. You deserve, you've earned a little break then.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good chunk of that done. Let's see. Our hunter is here. Hello. Thanks for being here. Like I said, and yet he stays sane. And then don't worry. Sane's a stretch. Oh, you guys are funny. Oh, here we go. Timothy says no breaks. Lamia said Dave will be holding auditions for the musical next year.
The Envoys of War, the musical,
Dude,
coming to a theater near you. Look, I can write the songs.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you can.
You've seen the poems in the book. I can write a song.
Heck yeah!
And I can play guitar and do that, but I don't know if I can compose I can't compose the piano related stuff or like the strings. So I'm not a composer, but I can definitely write the music.
You can't do everything. That's all right. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Very cool. So what when you were younger, what got you into fantasy and all that kind of stuff? Like what were some of the early exposure books that you had that got you down that path?
So the funny thing about it is that I didn't read much fantasy in the when people talk about the traditional fantasy, like Robert Jordan and people like that. So my dad is a history professor, and he studied a lot of Greek, ancient history. So I read a lot of ancient Greek mythology, ancient Roman mythology, which is fantasy-ish in how it comes together. I read a lot of other folklores, and I read a lot of sci-fi.
Nice. Okay.
So one of my favorite authors growing up was Timothy Zahn, who wrote the original awesome Star Wars books, which
sequel, what they should have made movies out of instead of
should have been the later on movies. And I read all of his other books and really loved sci-fi, and I read some fantasy, but I feel like I was the fantasy books that I did read were slower paced than some of the sci-fi, and I was kind of
you're like,
it was harder for me to get into those. And then I started reading a whole bunch of the classics, and then I went to school in English and creative writing, and got a master's degree in fiction writing, and I was reading all the literary fiction at that time. So took a big break from reading anything genre until I would say whenever I was in my mid-20s, I read Harry Potter and Percy Jackson because my younger brother had read them and really wanted me to, and I was kind of I should get back to reading some of that stuff that I used to read. And so I read some more sci-fi, and I started getting into some of the more traditional fantasy-ish things. But I'd say in general, like, I've always liked fantasy, but I didn't read much of like what we would consider modern fantasy. Like I've read one George R.R. Martin book, and it was not a Game of Thrones book.
Oh man, what did you read?
What is it? It's called like Tab. What is it called? It's a sci-fi. It's like it was actually, it was great. It was a sci-fi like collection of short stories, and they're always all about one character. I think it's like Tab Voyaging or Tag Voyaging,
something like that. I know what you're talking about.
It was great, but it was, I haven't read the Game of Thrones. I've read the first 2 books almost of Robert Jordan, and I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to read any more of these. There's
so many.
Good, but also I don't know if I want to read any more of these.
That's fair.
And I've read a few Brandon Sanderson books, and I think he's a good author, but I'm also just kind of like, I haven't been just like blown away by any of the ones I've read. To be fair, Way of Kings is on I have it on audiobook, and I haven't listened to it yet. But like Mistborn was fine.
Yeah.
But just kind of, I don't know. It was fine.
I get it. Same way. Like Mistborn was good, but yeah, it didn't knock my socks off. But I'm just starting Way of Kings, and we'll see how but I've had the similar experience. It's very good, but it's not like blowing your hair back,
And like the one that blew me away completely was Lies of Locke Lamora.
Gotta read that one.
It is like the perfect, it's hilarious and so freaking dark.
Yes.
At the same time. And then like the later books are probably even, they're not maybe quite as dark, but they're still just as funny.
Okay.
And I loved that entire series. I read the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft.
Oh yeah.
I read the first and
like
the last book doesn't quite hit the mark.
I was gonna say, a lot of people didn't like the last one. Did you not?
The first 3 books are top tier as far as I'm concerned.
Nice.
Probably one of my favorite series that I've read in the last 10 years was Kings of the Wild and Bloody Rose.
Yes.
Like, I absolutely loved those. So like you can see where I am kind of going with. I like them to be witty and funny. And I've read The Black Tongue Thief, and I liked it, but I don't know if I liked it quite as much as some of the other ones.
Some Okie dudes here. A little something about Okie.
Oklahoma's the place to be.
That's right.
Better than Texas.
Then Nick's here, just rolling in whenever he wants, of course.
Nick just shows up where he wants to show up these days. He's like, I'm married. I can do what I want.
Do what I want. That's right. Oh, man. Oh, and Rowdy Player One, I forgot to say earlier, he was in here. So he
Rowdy
says,
Player One, I am going to be on with him here in about a week, I think.
That's right. That's going to be fun. He's a cool guy. All right. We got a lot of people rolling in. Let's see. Here we go. A book by a bro written about bros for bros.
And she read that on I gave her the recommendation to read that, and she was kind of like, it was good, but I don't think I'm going to continue. And I was like, you're dead to me, Audrey. So Audrey she's in my D&D group, and she is a beta reader, and she beta read my book early on, and she did such an amazing job that she basically took on like the developmental editor role. And she's now taking classes to be a freelance developmental editor. But she has this story has been a big part of her for the last, several months too. Yeah. And she has done so much with it. Without her, it wouldn't be the same. She is obsessed with Tobias, which as far as I'm concerned, he's not the main character, but as far as she's concerned, he is the only one.
The only one for her. Yeah. Well, I mean, they are all just so good, man. You created some pretty memorable characters.
Thank you.
I do want to know, because I love the way that Corden and Jen like play off of each other. So was that something when you created both of those characters from the start? Was that something you already planned to have them play off each other so well, or does it just happen as you're writing?
So like when I went to college, I also had a minor in film studies.
Okay.
And I grew up watching a lot of old movies. And one of my favorite styles was screwball comedies from like the 1930s and 1940s. And the whole idea of your screwball comedies is fast talking back and forth between the characters basically the entire time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people in the chat, if you haven't seen those, you might have seen the show Gilmore Girls, which well, like a lot of the overall plots and things aren't full on screwball comedy. The dialogue of that show was very influenced by it as well, where it's very quick back and forth, witty repartee. And that's just something that I've always loved those movies. When I used to write my literary fiction stories, the characters were always kind of going back and forth with witty remarks and sarcastic humor. And it's how I communicate with people. And it's also how I like my characters to communicate with each other. It's just fun, and
it is very enjoyable.
I like the pace to continue and the characters to be quick-witted. If they're just sitting around like saying like, yes, the king, blah blah blah, the gods, and blah blah blah, the blah blah blah, backstory, world building. It's like that's good. Like you need to have those things.
Right. A little bit of that, yeah.
Be like skewering each other with witty remarks.
Yes. Oh yeah, and the pace is good, man. The pace, like it was always it just kept rolling. It never felt like too fast or too slow. So I think you did really good, especially being your first book. Like I was impressed.
I mean, so I've written short stories and I've written novellas and stuff. Like I wrote a bunch of literary fiction, but I'd never written a full novel or a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
This is the first one.
Well, it's awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Well done. Lorraine had a question, said, want to ask about Tobias and his magic. Did he learn to be a mage, or is his magic a natural thing?
All right. So the magic is something that the person is definitely born with, but they're also like in the country of Rosenfell, there is a mage academy, which is somewhat of a place to learn, but it is also kind of the political home and the like the base of operations for the entire Rosenfellian empire. So like it's more than just a magic school, but it does have that magic school element to it. And that is just something that is hinted at in book one. I will give you a little bit of a small hint that it's going to be something that has a bigger role in a later book, maybe. But the magic is something that is natural to them. Like you are born with the ability, but without the training, while you probably can still wield it, you're not going to be as powerful. And then like there are the people from the Isle of Wynn who are insanely powerful mages, and no one really knows how. They're, like, at least in the book so far, they're kind of like they don't really know, because it's just this completely different other place that is not that the people, my characters, haven't really ever been there and haven't really interacted with them to know about it. But it's something that is going to be, coming out a little bit more as the series goes on and they get more information.
Nice. All right. So a little tease there. No, does the school have any buses? A magic school bus?
They have magic carriages.
Yes, that's even better. That's pretty sweet. As long as Big Bird's
I just made that up on the spot, but now it's canon.
Now it's in there. Oh, Ryan Skeffington's here. Hey, Ryan. Thanks for being here,
Oklahoman.
Man. That's right.
I've actually met Ryan in person. We met for coffee in Oklahoma City a few months ago.
Nice. That's very cool.
Great time.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Oh, you two together. I would love to just be a fly on the wall for that, man. You guys together would be hilarious. Oh, all right. So, and Robin is here. This is a good segue. He said he heard there'd be Big Bird slasher fiction.
There is.
So we'll take a little pause talking about the awesome book for a minute. So it's probably, I think it was earlier this week. You were just putting out a very harmless post about your book tour and where you were going to be, and I made a harmless little joke about, because it showed a gif of Big Bird riding on a carriage, and I don't know why, but Big Bird freaks me out. Puppets freak me out a little bit in general, but Big Bird's just a gigantic bird. His voice is a little weird. I don't know. He just always freaked me out. So I said something and it blew up. Kenneth got involved and made some very interesting drawings that were fantastic. And you've been working on a little story.
I have written a story. So I think it started out from a tweet that I sent out joking around about trying to beat Adam Holcomb in a pre-order battle.
That's right.
And so I was like, let's go. And I had the we ride at dawn Big Bird on a carriage thing. And from there, it turned into Big Bird slasher fiction. However, Big Bird, he's got Riz. I mean, if you teach high school, you know what Riz is. You might not if you're not, but like he's got Big Bird knows what he's doing. I also do have a story about trucks of lettuce that we can come back to. There's a comment in the chat about that. That is not related to Big Bird, but it is a good story.
Oh, man.
So I had promised that I was going to read this story live. Our bearded book beast here has not heard this story yet. He's going to hear it now, and we're going to get his live reaction.
Yes, so, I cannot wait.
It is called Big Bird Adds to His TBR, a story of Riz, chocolate milk, and death.
All right.
Chris awoke to the sound of flapping wings. He cast aside his Michigan Wolverines blanket and rose from his computer chair. He'd fallen asleep in the middle of a book again. His current book was a total snooze fest. People traveling around, drinking wine, and being snarky. The author was way too bald as well. Chris foresaw a DNF in the near future. Chris walked into the kitchen, placed the terrible book on the counter, and opened the fridge. Nothing better than a 3 a.m. glass of chocolate milk. He took out the carton and began to pour a glass. "Hello, beastie," a deep voice rasps. Chris jumped, dropping the milk. Chocolate goodness oozed over the floor. "What?" He turned to see a 7-foot-tall yellow bird in the doorway, leering at him through reddened eyes. "Who are you?" "It's me, Big Bird," the avian atrocity said, "and I'm here to make you my snuggle-upagus." You live on Sesame Street," Chris muttered. You can't be here." "I left Sesame Street." Big Bird winked at Chris. "For love." Big Bird stepped toward Chris. For love?" Chris backed away. Big Bird cornered him near the dishwasher. Chris had nowhere to go. "Yes, Book Beast. You and your glorious beard." Big Bird licked his beak. "You will be mine." Chris searched the room for a way to escape. He had nowhere to run. Would he have to punch Big Bird and flee? "I'm adding you to my TBR," Big Bird said. "To be ravished." "That's nice," Chris said. A punch to Big Bird's beak or neck would be best. Chris clenched his fist. Triple B has a new meaning. Big Bird's boy toy. Can't wait. Maybe a sucker punch to Big Bird's gut. He could sweep the leg. "I don't want to brag, but I have a very big wingspan." Big Bird winked. "Huge." "Look, you seem like a great guy," Chris said, "but I just want to be beasties with you. My heart belongs to another." Big Bird's eyes flashed. Snuffleupagus said the same thing. Now he's Snuffle dead. "Oh shit," Chris whispered. "Bert and Ernie too," Big Bird continued. "I guess you're next, Chris. I just wanted love, but you denied me that. Instead, I'll feast on your corpse tonight." Big Bird laughed. "TBR means to be roasted now." "Nah," Chris said. "You're dead meat, bird brain." Chris picked up his copies of Envoys of something or other, that boring book he'd wanted the DNF. Well, it had a use now. With a strength he didn't realize he possessed, Chris swung the book into Big Bird's chest. Big Bird fell backwards. Chris stepped over him and swung the book into Big Bird's face over and over until Big Bird and the book were nothing but a bloody pulp. Blood mixed with the chocolate milk. Chris felt thirsty. But drinks could wait. Chris stepped over the body, went back to his computer room. He had a YouTube video to make. The most important video he'd ever make. The message, buy Envoys. It will save your life.
That was impressive. Dude, that was awesome. How long did it take you to write that? That's actually pretty
15
impressive.
minutes.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Oh, dude.
I have been doing that for years, like just kind of writing silly little spoof stories about like friends and people I know. It's fun. And
man.
Yeah, I wrote that in a few minutes, and I downloaded it. I put it into a Canva doc, and I sent it to my ARC reader, Kenneth. But I will definitely get you a copy as well, because I know you probably need that in your life.
Oh, I definitely do. Well, thanks for letting me triumph at the end. I appreciate it. Well, that's even funnier than at the beginning when I said I fell asleep.
Yeah, I know.
But lots of applause here in the chat. We'll see what other people said while you were reading that. Shane said already better than Abercrombie. There we go, man. That's good stuff. Audrey said better love story than Twilight. Left it for love. That was a good part. Kenneth says you get the Emmy. I agree. Grimbird, a new genre. You're just starting new things. You don't even know it. There comes the applause. Fantastic. 5 out of 5 stars. No notes. Oh yeah. More applause. Bravissimo. Lots of laughing. Best 15 minutes ever. 6 out of 5 stars. Oh, come on, Timothy. Oh, round it to 6 stars. Good. Oh, man. Often show up in his stories.
Papers have been known to show up and like bite people in some of the stories.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Somebody get broken on the phone. Yes. Special edition of that.
Kenneth's already designed the cover. So
I know we've already got the artwork. He's such a good artist, man. It's crazy how quick he can whip up stuff, and it looks just spot like that one of You and Me.
I know that was
all
amazing.
The Sesame Street gang on it. That was awesome.
Someone said Grim Bird. We've already got Grim Bird. It is The Wingspan of Treason by Lamia Bayan. I made a reference to that there in the story where Big Bird talked about the size of his wingspan. Yes,
I noticed.
I also had a little reference to the first line of Envoys when I said nothing better than a 3 a.m. glass of milk.
Yes.
Because the first line of the book is nothing worse than an empty bottle of wine.
Well played. Oh, naming chocolate goo both gory and kinky. Oh man, that was good. That was an amazing moment of my life. I'm glad that I got to spend with you.
You need to get like a Big Bird plushie or something now to put on.
I know. I definitely need one back here. Something. There's got to be something out there with him holding the sword or something. I don't know.
If not, we need one made. Someone needs to make that.
Someone needs to make
Big Bird plushie with a sword. Start selling them. You can sell them on the Bearded Book Beast, shop.
Yes, that's right. I'm on it. He's got to have the angry face too that Kenneth drew.
Yes, Big Bird is canonically angry.
Think
about it. He's big. He's a bird. His only friend is Snuffleupagus, who can't leave the place where he stands at all times.
Exactly.
At 500 subs, you get a Big Bird tattoo.
I love that. There we go. All right.
On the neck.
I don't know. I'm
neck tattoo right here.
I'm close to 500. We'll say like 5,000. We'll just put that on the road. If I get to 5,000, maybe I will. Man, that was awesome, dude. Thanks for doing that.
Of course, that was fun. The lettuce story that my
Oh,
friend
yeah,
Justin said in the chat, that trucks of lettuce are canon.
Mm-hmm.
They are not actually canon in the story, but I do have, this is not book related, but at my wedding, which my friend Justin, who's in here, is Two Lane Highway, was one of my groomsmen. At our rehearsal dinner, we had a big salad because I'm gluten free. I have celiac disease, can't eat gluten, and I also eat low carb most of the time. So I had this massive, big salad available for people at the rehearsal dinner. And I had asked, I was at work, and my wife and her sister went to Sam's Club to buy all of the stuff to put that together. And I Googled, like, how much lettuce does it take for 50 people? And it said, like, a certain number of pounds. And so I sent the text and said, this is what it said on Google, but look at it and, you know, see if it looks like, you know, the correct amount. What do? They go and they buy 18 bags of 6 heads of lettuce or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
There was so much lettuce. I was giving lettuce away. And like, I gave my parents like several heads of lettuce. We had the heads of lettuce that were like going bad a month later.
Oh my god.
So Justin here likes to
Remind
make comments about me and lettuce all the time because of that. But that is something that I could make happen. Maybe in the book,
you could.
They get way too much wine and Jen has a good night.
Oh, you're onto something. Lamia said, I can't have you. You belong to the scribes. He can be in more than one place.
I don't know. The scribes, we're pretty like, we don't let anyone go anywhere else. Like, if you're a scribe, you are nothing else.
You're scribe for life.
The scribes has really been the best thing that I have done as a indie author, like getting into the community. So basically, and I'll tell this story for anyone who hasn't heard the story yet, but like, the Break-ins are a well-known organization. Like, they have a lot of awesome authors, and like, at this point, I think a lot of people in the indie community have heard about them and like know kind of what to expect. And like, I had seen what they were doing, and I think Josh Walker had made a post saying that he encouraged everyone to like find their own community like that. And so I made a post saying I would love to start something like this. And I'd seen some people make sort of like joking posts, like, I'm going to start the breakdowns. I'm going to start the broke enoughs or whatever. And so I just said, who wants to start one? And a few authors that I was connected with, and a few that I wasn't really connected with, got a hold of me. We started a group. We had 12 at first because we had said like 12 was the number. We didn't want to get bigger than that. However, number 13, who had like responded and asked to join like right after number 12, was our own Lamia buy-in. And we were just like, okay, she seems really awesome. Like, let's get her in the group. So we got her in the group, and things immediately were complete, because I've said this before, but basically we're over there just like having complete like imposter syndrome breakdowns and like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna like my book, no one's gonna, and she's over there just like, snap out of it, you're good, you're great, breathe, calm down, like talking you off of the metaphorical ledges, sometimes literal ledges, who knows. But she has just been an awesome addition. Lorraine is here, and Bella is here, and we've also got Rach, R.A. Sandpiper, who's written the best romantasy book I have ever read in my life. Pocket of Lies, by the way. I have a copy of it right here.
I just ordered that from her. Yeah.
It is such a good book. And she just had a huge, like, Amazon canceled the pre-orders for her second book, but she's in there. Sean O'Boyle has a hilarious book. And R.E. Sanders writes your good old classic epic fantasy. Bill Adams, Greg, DJ Terrell, Alex Schuerman.
You guys have an
some guy named Dave.
Some guy named Dave.
Eamon Bradley, Damian Francis. I think this is another book I read recently that was fantastic. Yeah. People should go
beautiful cover.
Find this book, buy that book, read that book. Dave Lettison.
Secret Elias. There we go.
I really should try to do that. I need to just buy like a wall of lettuce in my house.
Oh, that'd be something. You need to make your own stuffed animal where you like unpeel the lettuce head and then you're just on the inside. Just a little Dave in there.
Honestly, that is not a bad idea. Like put that on like future Kickstarters. Yeah. Do you want lettuce that peels and you have a little bald author inside? Hey, $1,000. Yeah, right.
Oh, that was sold out so quick, man.
So Kenneth asked what the alcohol level of plum wine is. I'm going to say kind of like a port, maybe. So I think that's like 16 to 17%, a little bit higher than your traditional wine. It's maybe a little bit more like the kind of thing that most people might sip, but Jen is just over there guzzling because
taking it down.
I don't know what a port actually tastes like. I've had it once before, Audrey. I'm just saying it's a stronger wine, okay?
They don't let you get away with anything.
It's like 17, 18%-ish and not your like 12. Jen's a boss. Jen chugs port wine like crazy. That's right. She does what she needs to do. Audrey's been very worried about Jen's liver, and I'm just like, no. Jen is just amazing. Like she has the liver of an ox.
Yes.
And the strength of one.
Yeah, that early on, I knew I was gonna love the book when I'm loving the characters and the banter and the political intrigue and the backstabbing stuff, and then all of a sudden she wakes up and all of a sudden she's fighting a giant spider. What's the spider's name? He has an awesome name too.
Francois.
Yes, I'm like, all right, this book is for me. He's got me.
That was awesome. Jen also just basically any animal that becomes her friend or that she meets along the way, her go-to name is Francois. So I just refer to it as like Jen and her Francois. Like any animal that she tries to befriend. Like she wants to befriend the spider. Yeah. He's just a jerk and she has to kill him.
She tries.
I mean.
Then she has to take him out.
All
right, so Jenna, she isn't into having a relationship. Is this because she drinks too much?
So Jen is aromantic, asexual. She is not really interested in like romantic relationships in general. She definitely has some sort of platonic crushes of sorts on some different people that she likes a lot, but it's sort of a situation of she's not someone who is seeking a relationship with anyone.
Right.
She's just, that's not her thing. I have some friends who are on the asexual spectrum. I think spectrum's, I don't know if spectrum's the right word.
I mean,
they're on, and they've, talked about how they would wanted to have a little bit more like representation. And so I thought, that is something that I could add. And it basically, as soon as I started writing Jen, I knew that she wasn't going to have any kind of romantic relationship. And it fit her character to do that. And I had a review come out today where, the reviewer said that they identified with that aspect of it being that themselves. And that was amazing for me. Cause it's like,
I bet that was like,
yes,
that's what I wanted it to do.
And it wasn't me just like not knowing what I was doing.
Just accidentally doing that. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. That was awesome. Yeah. That's very cool. I think it does. Like you said, it fits her character. It's perfect. So well done again.
And then Corden's the opposite. He basically wants to have a romantic encounters with everyone he sees and everything basically. And then Tobias, he's just too broody.
Right.
No one wants him, Audrey. No one wants him, Audrey.
She's fuming right now. She's getting ready to type something.
She's over like just throwing her computer against a wall currently.
Oh man. All right, so you told us what you were working on earlier. You're taking a little break, but what do you have planned for this world and this series, like long term? Like, what have you kind of mapped out in your head? Like, how far do you want to go with it? Like a trilogy, a longer series, or like other series set in the same thing? What are you thinking with all that?
So this series is going to have at least 3 to 4 books. The thing is, I kind of, and I've mentioned how I felt like it was similar to like a Michael J. Sullivan, and some of the reviews have also agreed with me on that, which is awesome. Yes. But one of the things I really liked about his Royce and Hadrian books was that each one kind of had a complete like story arc.
Yep.
And then the next one was the same characters, but a new kind of mission. And I think in the last live, we talked about how Joe Byrne also kind of does that with his amazing Rohan books, where like same characters, but each one is kind of its own basically complete story. There's going to be a few threads.
Right. There's a bigger overarching thing.
But like it is that. And so like book 2 will also kind of be like that. Book 3. So it's not one of those like book 2 ends on this cliffhanger that you must finish in book 3 so much as like adventure with these characters. Here's their next adventure. Then here's their next adventure. So honestly, I could do as many as I
as many as you
feel
want.
like doing, because it's not so much a like there has to be, there's this end story arc that they have to get to, so much as because they're not saving the world.
Right.
They are not the epic fantasy heroes that are saving the world or destroying the world.
Right.
They're kind of the small people who aren't that important in the whole scheme of things, but they have people-based conflicts that are important to the people that they know and those people, and they're able to like fight to kind of stop some of those. And so there are some political things in the background. There are some moments where they do things that might affect a little bit on a more continental scale, but in general they're focused more on smaller missions and not on, you know, they're never going to be the chosen ones saving the world. They're not that important. So I think, and I'm writing the novella, which is in the past. I'm writing a little short story for our Secret Scribes anthology. I've written about 400 words on that now, with some mage captains out in the sea, like completely unconnected to all of the political stuff, just like a short story with some mage captains. And God, Audrey,
you knew.
But basically, it's one of those stories where I can do as much as I want to with it, because I don't have a like set end point. It's not the Game of Thrones series where from the beginning there's like, this is where, I don't know if he actually knows where it's all going to end, but it's not, you know, Wheel of Time or something where everything is going toward this end conclusion. It's more like, adventure. Here's another adventure. I could write another adventure with these characters, like, and just kind of see where it goes, which I'm kind of a plancer as a writer. Like I do a little bit of planning, but a lot of it is kind of as I write, things happen, and it becomes what it is.
My next question was, because the book, it has a lot of twists and turns where as the reader, you kind of think you know where it's going, and then it doesn't. Then you twist it on us, which I love. I love that. Like, did you plan all those twists out, or was that the answer and you kind of?
I was writing this story where they were on a mission, and it originally was like a serious, amazing mission, like serious mission that was not a scam, not a sham. And it was like, they were on this mission. It was an important mission, and they just didn't get to it because things kept happening. And the way it had been written was, I'd been writing it and I knew they weren't going to actually complete the mission from the beginning, but I wasn't real. And I knew I'd written that they were going to meet some different people along the way that kind of like turned their attention in a different manner. But it kind of like they'd met Tobias and they met Avelia, and Jen was just kind of like, yeah, screw Perron. Let's go save these kids. And people read the book and were kind of like, that's a big shift on her part. Like out of nowhere. Like it's a big shift. And so I kind of like, okay, how can I make this to where it actually, and then Corden at some point was like, same thing. So it's like, how can I make it to where there's a little bit more of a reason for them to be like, this mission isn't all that important. We don't have to finish it because it's not even something that matters all that much in the whole scheme of things. So that's one thing. And then I also, Avelia, the first scene that she's in, that was originally a different girl. So it's like he meets this girl in a tavern, is like, hey, you're hot. And she's like, I hate you. And then a few chapters later, he meets another girl. And it's just like, and they both had red hair, but they were different characters. And one of my like early critique readers, people was kind of like, I feel like you could make these the same person. And I was like, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
That's interesting.
Tobias originally was absolutely just a villain.
Oh, wow.
Like the original drafts. And I think I've always liked characters that have more, like they're not just good or just bad. And as I wrote more of Tobias, and especially as people like Audrey were reading it and kind of like really starting to like him, and Rachel, R.A. Sandpiper had read it and made some comments about how she said like she was starting to really start to vibe with him, and then what he did at the end of the novel kind of made her dislike him again. And so I completely rewrote the last third of the novel after beta to like make it work better in terms of like a more complete story, because it was like they're going on this thing, and then the end was like, and here's this thing that happens. And I cut all of that.
Oh man.
Rewrote the whole thing to where I feel like there's a more complete and more like satisfying, some more satisfying moments toward the end. And like I feel like Tobias is more of a complete character now than he was in earlier drafts. Lorraine says she's not feeling the Tobias love.
Feeling the Tobias love.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be spoilers, but like I think Lorraine's at like chapter 10 right now. And Tobias is still maybe
not as likable. Well, shoot, I'm gonna finish this weekend. I'll have to message you and ask you what the original ending was then. Once
I can tell you that once that happens.
Sweet. Oh man, that's so cool. I love hearing all this behind the scenes stuff, man. That's awesome.
And I am actually doing I'm going to annotate a book from Corden's perspective, like talking about it all. That's like for an ARC reader giveaway. So
that's so cool.
I have some ARC readers who signed up, and I'll draw a giveaway person, and they will get a copy where I like Corden has made notes within this copy of the book. So I haven't started doing that yet, but I am. I know some of the things that Corden is going to be doing, saying, because like all the chapters that aren't in his point of view, he's going to be like, excuse me, why are you saying that about me? Like I'm amazing.
I agree with Shane. I need this. Audrey says that's going to be cool. I agree. Like, you might just have to eventually just sell that, because people, once they read the book, everyone's going to want that too. So,
but I'm excited for that. I'm excited for release here in 2 weeks. I actually have a little, I'm having an in-person release party for friends and family. At a local gluten-free brewery, because I'm gluten-free, and gonna have some copies of my book, and some local people like that I know are gonna be there, and maybe I'll sell some books to some family members, you know.
Hey, there you go. Heck yeah. Oh, Lorraine said, one more chapters with a little spice.
That is not going to be something I am going to write. That is not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could write it. I don't want.
I was gonna say we just read a little. You
series.
read a little spice a little bit ago.
But
that's not in your plans for this series.
It is not in my plans for this series or for anything that I actually publish.
Oh man, I think that's a laughing emoji, right? No, it's a little terrifying looking.
I mean, that's actually what Scottish people look like when they laugh, so it's okay. Hi, Lorraine.
Oh man, that's awesome. Corton gets plenty of spice, Audrey says.
Corden does get plenty of spice. The Secret Scribes, Lorraine is actually, her books are full of like implied spice.
Okay.
But every time it's like the door shuts and it goes on the next chapter. So basically, she just needs to bite the bullet and write the stuff.
Just make that chapter a little longer. Oh man. Yeah, you guys have a good vibe, your group. I mean, everybody I've talked to, you guys all just love each other. You banter and back and forth with each other. And I also like, part of the reason that I've kind of blown up going into all this indie stuff is you guys' group. I think I have a book from all of you, or plan to buy a book from the ones I haven't. And you're all super nice, and you're all really good writers too. So it's a pretty good combination.
I think the only one now who doesn't have like a book in the arc or out process is Tom Bookbeard. Okay. But his is like almost at arcs. Yeah. And he's written this. I haven't read it yet, but it is a like Sky Pirate book that sounds absolutely amazing. So like,
I agree.
Basically, Lamia, me, and Eamon are all in the arc status. Everyone else has published.
Yep.
And Tom's is almost there, and it needs to happen. So yeah, and one of the fun things is we all read each other's books.
Yeah, that's so nice.
So we're able to then like make inside jokes, and Bill was making fun of me the other day for how many times I use the word plan in Envoys of War, because it's all about plans, okay? They make plans, the plans fail, they make a new plan, it fails, they make a new plan, it fails. Like,
oh man.
So yes, there are a lot of plans in the book, but it's what the book is.
Yeah, it has to be. Did he count up how many, or no?
I looked.
Well, it's ridiculous.
And it was like 120 something.
Oh man.
Times I used the word plan.
How can you not? There's not really another word you could use,
Scheme, plot. Like, I use those some too, but like, basically, Corden's not saying, "Oh yes, I have a scheme." He's like, "Yeah, I've got a plan."
Yeah, that just sounds better. Sounds like him. Oh, very good, man.
And I have an audio book that'll be coming out in the springtime.
That's my next question.
Okay, go ahead, ask the question.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, we've got a lot of people that only do audio. So are you doing audio for it?
I am not doing the audio.
Not you. You could though. You could. You would make
I don't have any like equipment.
Yeah.
To actually do that. So I'm doing the royalty share option on through ACX Audible, where you often, it's someone who is maybe not like they're not like the top guy in the field who's getting paid thousands,
right?
But there's someone who is trying to, get experience and get out there. And I had several different people send in auditions and listen through a lot of those, and went with a guy. His name is Lawrence Sterling Knott. He is British.
That sounds like a British name.
He needs to be British for these characters, because they're very British in their vibe. But he blew me away with his the sample that he sent, and I'll get the first 15-minute checkpoint by the end of October, and I should have it all recorded by the end of the year, and then I'll just have to listen and like make sure, you know, everything is, so like the whole listening through, like with a copy of the book, listening to, you know, make sure that everything is correct. And then once that is all set, it will go live sometime in the spring. I did have one narration submission that was the absolute worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And it was from Justin Lane, who I said I was doing it. And he made an account and did an audition and was like, "Can we please have another bottle of the Winterblom wine?" Jen asked. I mean, he honestly didn't do a bad job. But just, you know, he is a middle school teacher, not a professional voice narrator.
Right. What was your sample scene that you sent out for people to read?
So the scene that I chose was from chapter 4 in the tavern, where the brigands there come up to argue, and Corden does this thing where he's like, "Oh, you, sir, a man of taste. You are a man of action, a man who enjoys getting his hands dirty. We will, of course, see you at the ballet." He's like, "What's that? What's that? Oh, you are very droll indeed." Like, basically, so it was. I picked it because it was a scene, and then the Tobias scene after that, because it gave the person a chance to do
a lot of range.
Brigand, Jen, Corden, Tobias, other brigands. So like 6 characters within that one little like 7-minute thing. So I picked a part that would have that, and I also wanted them to get the vibe of the book and see like it is not, you know, this incredibly serious like grim dark opus, but doesn't have to be. Not every book has to be grim dark.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of my favorite indie books that I've read have been the ones that do have that bit of humor. So like The Crew by Sadir S. Samir was one that was just absolutely hilarious. Joe Byrne is amazing.
Oh yeah, awesome.
This guy named Nick, like NJ Alexander, like he doesn't market his book as like humorous, but it's got a lot of wit and funny moments and banter, and that's kind of like, I think he could probably market it as like witty fantasy as well and do pretty well with it because it's a funny book as well. The Ballad of Spricket the Bard by Sean O'Boyle is hilarious. Just a lot of really The Whisper that something to God. What is that? What is the word?
Yeah, whisper that replaced the God.
Replaced the God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love Mute.
Great humor. Yeah, me too.
I don't want to be Mute, but also I'm like, Mute was so good, so cool. And I was just like, I had not read anything by Tim before that, and I was like, I need to read everything by Tim.
I know, that's how.
I needed to put them on audiobooks because I get through those so much faster. Come on, Tim.
I know. Agreed. Oh man, yeah. Where was it at? Let me find it. I think Lamia said once she heard the narrator do Corden, that was the voice forever for Corden. So
it's he's Corden. Like his voice is perfect.
Yeah, I hear when I read it now, I hear his voice is what you just did. It's a pretty similar. Like, yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you nail it too. So that's
another.
Good.
I guess I didn't actually talk about this in my like things that I was influenced by, but like my mom is a huge Jane Austen person, Pride and Prejudice, etc. Like we watched. So I've read all the books, but like, and she read all the books, but we also watched all of the different like BBC series. Back in the day of those, and like, so like the original, well, not the original, the 1995 Pride and Prejudice miniseries is like, it's 6.5 hours long, and it's amazing. And the whole time they are just like, there's all of this back and forth. There's so much banter and wit in there, and it's just like, I would say I probably do. I like a good Regency romance with wit. Like I'll come out and say it. There's nothing wrong with some Regency romance.
Yep, I agree. You're killing everybody's TBR in the comments here with all those great recommendations you just threw out.
I've got, like I said before, these are good books right here.
Oh yeah.
I have more of them in the other room, but those were the two that I had on hand out here. But books
are good. People love the BBC version forever.
It's the best one. Colin Firth was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will say Audrey says that she thinks of Tobias as the guy who played Mr. Darcy in the newer one.
Oh yeah.
So like that is her dream casting of Tobias because he's just like Broody McBruderson.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, let's say if they did. First we should say Nick heard your comment. You should write that review now.
Nick has been teasing me about this for like a week and a half now. He's like, "Oh, I read the book. I'm going to write that review." Well, I probably won't do it this weekend. Well, I'll probably do it next week. I won't do it this weekend.
Oh man. So if they were going to make it into a TV show or movie, who would you cast for your 3 main roles?
So it's hard for me because I haven't watched enough new stuff.
Oh yeah,
to really pick a lot of new actors.
Right.
But like there was a guy. So this is going to be sort of a deep cut for people who watched a lot of 90s and early 2000s, like British stuff. Nice. But there's a guy named Rupert Everett.
Oh yeah.
Who was in a lot of different stuff, but he was in The Importance of Being Earnest and An Ideal Husband, which are both Oscar Wilde plays that were turned into movies. And he just had the perfect vibe of like this witty, well-spoken gentleman about town who was a complete rake. And I think like someone like that would have been perfect for that character for Corden. Jen,
I can see that.
She'd have to be huge because Jen is like 6'5",
right? Yeah,
and a beast.
I'd
have to I don't know enough new actors to really even think of that.
Right.
But I don't know. I could definitely find some. I think it would be. It would be awesome to have something like that. I don't expect anything like that to happen, but it would be fun.
It would be an awesome show.
It would be funny.
Heck yeah. Oh man. Oh, Lorraine said if Tobias was played by Tom Hardy, she'd change her mind about it.
Lorraine, in your mind, just think of Tobias as his name is actually Tobias Hardy. He is he's actually this incredibly buff dude. Corden is not Timothée Chalamet.
I'm gonna say I don't think people agree with that. Oh man, that's awesome. Let me see your shirt better. You showed me it for a second before. That is a cool shirt.
It is normal, healthy adult turtles.
That is awesome.
With some regular turtles.
That shirt's so you, man.
I mean, I have several shirts like this. I wear them to school. The kids look at me like, "You're not that funny," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not funny."
Oh, you just wait. I forgot I was going to show you. I don't know if you saw it, but Nick said that he has you fully convinced he has it written.
I know Nick. Nick has convinced the world that he has written 4 books of Fogbound, and then he's just got to revise them a little bit and beta them. And I'm like, he's a snake oil salesman. He's actually he's written that one book, and he's got Fogbound book 2, and it's like the fog lifted. Period. And he has no more words.
That's it.
But right there, he is just kind of, he's like, "Oh, I've got 4 books written. They're all amazing. Just wait, guys." But he actually is sitting there looking at book 2, and he's like, "What do I do now that the fog is lifted? I don't know what to do." So it's basically what's happening.
That's what's going on. We know now. We know the truth, Nick. All right, so that's an awesome shirt. She was waiting to see it. So, all right. Well, I just looked. We've already been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes already, man. This is flying by.
Yeah.
John just rolled in. YouTube didn't notify you, I tell you. Well, better late than never, John. Have you seen his book cover? His book cover's cool.
It's
too,
the one
white
with the
crown.
orc like
Yeah, I think I have it.
hanging, I think.
Oh yeah, I think I have it right here.
Yes, I have
Yeah,
seen that
that's
one.
a
That's a
nice one.
cool cover. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's an awesome cover. So is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want people to know about your book or anything like that, man? I want to make sure you have the floor.
I guess like here's the book. It's pretty fun. It comes out in 2 weeks. It has pages. It has words. It even has some poems.
Yes.
It has a map.
Oh yes, the map. Heck yeah.
It even has poems. And basically, I think it's a fun ride of a book. I think one of my friends, Rach, Ari Sandpiper, I call her all three of them every single time. All three of those things every single time. She had said it's a book that slays a book slump because it's just like a fast-paced, fun type read. It does not have a prologue. It
drops you right in.
Right about 391 pages, 395 pages. It has a lot of plans. And it comes out in 2 weeks. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon.com for the ebook. You can go to my website, davelawsonauthor.com. If you want to pre-order the signed physical copies. I'm actually getting ready to send those out here in the next like week and a half. As soon as I get more copies in, I put the order in and I'm just waiting for them to get here from Amazon. But basically what I'm asking for you to do, people out there, make a plan. Buy The Envoys of War by Dave Lawson.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Oh man. Yeah, this was a blast, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. It was so much fun.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing the book with me. And I can't wait for everybody else to get to read it because it's awesome, dude. You did a very good job, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
It is not US only, Lamia. It's just you can order it anywhere else. The issue is just the shipping costs more. Yeah. So like if you order it from the UK, you might be paying $20-something in shipping. Whereas the easiest thing to do there might be to just buy a copy off Amazon when it goes live. And I have stickers. Like I have book plates that I can send you a signed book plate, and I'll send those to you for free if you can show me that you bought a physical copy. Like it costs like $1 to ship a sticker.
Oh, nice.
To Britain, whereas it's like $30 to ship a book. So signed copies are for anywhere. It's just it's going to cost you more shipping wise if you live somewhere else. But go buy the book, read the book, rate and review the book. Send me messages and tag me in posts talking about things you like in the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will put anybody watching the replay or anybody that was here, thank you for being here. But after this ends right away, I'm going to put all the links in the description, link to Dave's website, link to it on Amazon, everywhere that I know that it's at. And let's get this thing rolling because this is a fun read and everybody needs to check it out. It's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you, everyone that was here. If you watched on replay, thank you for watching it. And thank you, Dave, for being here. I hope everybody has a great day. And as I always say, till I see you in the next one, devour those TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. And by Envoys of War. Have a good Saturday, everybody.